Relationships. Wow, what a complicated word and world.
Last night I was really proud of myself for laying things out there with a kind of a new guy. And
from boyfriends or husbands to friends and kids.
That's the only thing I really don't like to talk about.
They're difficult, but so incredibly important.
And I always joke and say, girl power, because I love my girlfriends.
You believe it, you can achieve it, we'll see you at the top.
There is nothing more important to me than relationships. It's at the very core of who I am. It's the only reason I'm doing this show. I want to encourage others, especially us women, to have good friends and to be good friends. If there's one woman we can all learn from, it's my longtime friend, Debbie Rasa. Deb has been a lifesaver, more times than I can easily count. She's that friend who will do anything for me, and has. Why is that?
I thought I'd just bring lunch and, bring it for the crew and try to support you however I can. If I need to run an errand or, take something to somebody, just help you with a shoot, whatever. I thought I'd come over and say, hey.
I don't think people realize how much those little things matter and your ongoing support.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I mean, it's the little things that mean the most to me, so I try to reflect that back. My motto with friendship is, especially with you, I think through sick and sin, we're there. I'm a lifer kind of thing. Relationships are really, really important to me. When I was in my early 20s, I actually lost a really good friend. And when you're in your early 20s, those are kind of life-changing moments. And I lost her to suicide, and that was really, really hard for me. I still get emotional because we were such good friends. It was kind of like the friendship that I have with you. It was a really quick, really deep friendship early on. And I think that my heart said, I never want to have that happen again. Felt a little bit of guilt, when you're in your early 20s. Felt like, what could I have done? What could I have said to her maybe that would change her mind? I think I had the feeling that I wasn't there for her. So I think either God put it in my heart or I put it somewhere deep down in my heart. I want to be the kind of friend that I desire to have friends be to me.
Well, you're definitely that friend.
Thank you. And you're that friend to me.
Thanks again for lunch. Shall we eat?
Yes, let's eat.
Just being herself, Deb reminds me almost daily how important good relationships are, how important good friendships are. And while I've yet to tackle Mr. Right, I will. I hope with a safe and supportive romantic partner comes children. I'd like to have the open, honest, and fun relationship with them that my stylist Norman has with his daughter Alex. A simple but meaningful night of pizza and planning her quinceañera.
First of all, do you understand the whole meaning behind it? That's probably more
Turning
important.
to a woman
Exactly.
from 14 going to 15.
We also want for you to understand your heritage.
Okay.
Understand your heritage, what it is. I mean, your ancestors did it, and it's just something that I think that would be nice for us to do for you. And it'd be awesome for me because I would love to basically to let everybody know, here's my wonderful, beautiful daughter turned into a beautiful woman. And I know we talked about this.
What?
Escort. Do you understand why we're not going to have one? Why not?
Well, think about it. Women have dates.
Sweetheart, you're only 15 years old. You're going to be 15. The whole thing is to basically let...
Yeah, but I said you said I can start dating.
At what? At 16.
No, you said my 15.
No, not your 15.
Okay.
only 15 years old. Seriously? Okay, let's ask you this. Do you even have a boyfriend?
I did. In the
You
beginning
did?
of the year.
And I'm just hearing about it? Thank you.
That's the only thing I really don't like to talk about. So,
Talk about it with me.
yeah. It's more of a girl thing. So, do you have any girlfriends?
No. Let's go back to you. There is, on this boyfriend thing, there is no holding hands and kissing and all that other stuff, correct?
Yeah, I haven't done that.
Okay, good. Awesome. So then from here, this is what we'll do. We'll plan. And we'll go from there, and I think it'll be awesome.
Okay.
Terrific.
And sometimes for children and young adults, a special relationship develops with a sibling of sorts, a person they're not related to. It starts as a meeting of two strangers and quickly becomes so much more.
Let me show you something. She gave me a while back.
What did I give you a while back?
What does that say?
Oh, my big brother for life.
There are maybe thousands, if not millions, of relationships people can develop over a lifetime. Some stay and some go. Some are between the usual suspects like blood relatives. Others play out a little differently. The Big Brothers Big Sisters program starts with two strangers, an adult who has the time as well as the desire to help, and a child who needs a positive role model. What happens from there can be magic.
You know how long we've been patched up, big bro, little bro?
Guess from 7th grade to now, that is 5 years. The first time I ever met you, I was like, what is this guy doing in my house? I remember exactly what you were wearing and everything. I think it was like, was it a pink? It was a
Pink? No such
Yes,
thing.
it was a pink collared shirt, some blue jeans, and some white shoes. And I was like, who is this guy? You came up to me and you're like, hey, I'm Justin, I'm your big brother. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, I was still, you know, a little hesitant.
I remember the first time that I walked in the door, and you know what I'm gonna say too.
Yep.
The first thing
Don't say
I
it.
said, hey Andrell, my name's Justin, your brigade. He goes, my name's Andrell, I'm a ladies' man. You look me straight in the face. I said, that's it, I knew we were gonna get along from then on out.
I don't remember that.
Yes,
I
you
don't
do.
remember.
I knew we were gonna get along. I knew you had a sense of humor right away, and I've got to see you pretty much change your whole life.
And I don't even see you as a big brother. You know, I see you as a brother that's been living with me since the get-go.
What do you think you've learned from me?
Oh man,
Or just learned from this experience?
respect. I've learned. I've gained so much courage from you. Like some things that I've never even thought that I'd be able to do. I was able to look back and think like, you know, what would Justin do? Or, you know, I know if I did this, he would be on me.
I've got to see you from 13 years old. Is that right? 13. You know, you were at the time. Your mom told me you were having trouble with some of the kids that you were friends with. They're bad influences, and I've got to see you pretty much change your whole life. I mean, how you carry yourself, how you speak with people, how you react to certain situations. It's all in a calm, controlled manner, and I think all that has led you up to where you're at right now. I mean, you're pretty much the best football player on your team. You have tons of talent. You make great grades. You're a good man. You're 18 now. I can call you a man. You're not a kid anymore. Let me show you something. She gave me a while back.
What did I give you a while back?
Let's see here. These are my
Oh, my
military
God.
dog tags, right? Remember this that you gave me? What does that say?
Oh, my big brother for life. Justin.
Big bro for life. This meant a lot to me when you gave this to me. And so I put it on my military dog tag, which also means a lot, and I've kept it there since you gave it to me. So
With everything else that we've done, with the with paintball, you taught me how to swim. All of that stuff was like hanging on a wall in my room, so I can just, you know, look back and be like, yeah, you know, he's taught me all this and all that.
that means a lot to me to hear that.
Yeah.
So try not to tear up. So it means,
Don't
man,
tear up.
holding strong. But that means a lot. Well, I think right now that we need to definitely go do one of the things we love to do, and that's go toss the football around. What do you think?
Go do it. That sounds good.
I hope you've been working on your skills, because I'm going to be bringing the heat.
Oh, okay.
Bringing the heat.
It's so fun to watch good relationships in action. Two people who are so comfortable with each other and in their own skin. I can't begin to imagine how that works when two people spend 24/7 together, by choice.
One day he came by the office and I saw him and I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? We just connected instantly. And
She'd been drinking.
Work relationships can be tricky, and so can romantic relationships. Combine the two, and it can be a recipe for greatness. And that's what I'm learning from Gene and Julie, a husband and wife team that hosts the morning show on 103.7 Light FM.
So what are we doing today? You going to CBS radio?
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story. Years ago, when I decided I wanted to get back into media, I started researching who I really respected and admired and liked their personalities, and I love Gene and Julie. They just have this great energy, and so I would listen to them every day and kind of find out where their appearances were and go check them out. And I would call in often, and so I just kind of got to know them via the radio, and then Gene Facebooked me about the show. I think you take a right here. And so we got together and got a little bit caught up, and then they asked me if I wanted to talk about my show on their show, and I said, why don't you talk about your show on my show? And I just think they have a really interesting relationship. They work together, they live together, they love together. I think that's interesting.
That's sweet.
I think you keep going straight up.
Okay.
Look who's here! Janeé Harrell!
Finally!
Yay!
Finally!
How are you?
I'm great, how are you?
Good to see you. How's your show going?
Show is going great.
I had someone stop me in the elevator today saying they just watched you last night.
It's a little weird. I'm very excited and feel very blessed of all the progress that we've made.
You know what I love is how real you guys are. You're not afraid to show your humanity, because I think a lot of TV shows try to make everything nice and pretty, and life isn't always that easy.
And our journey has definitely not been pretty.
I wouldn't say that, but it's been real.
It absolutely has been real. And I think that with that, people don't really know. People have said, well, did your cameraman leave for the show? And all of that is 100% real. And so
how did you work that out, by the way?
Well, you'll just have to keep watching to find out.
Okay.
No, like life, I think often things happen, people come into your life, situations come in and out of your life, and if you don't give up on what you really want and you keep pursuing, then in the end it will all work out, which is what happened with John, which is awesome.
Interesting, because we just we're talking about the passing of Dick Clark, and one of his messages to a lot of people was the same thing. His message was, find what you love what you do, and everything else will take care of itself. You just have to believe and press forward. And sometimes it's hard to believe that or listen to that, right?
Absolutely. And speaking of finding what you love, you guys have an interesting story of how you all kind of connected, and that relationship has helped you both personally and professionally. Will you tell me about that?
Oh, I like how she's turning the interview around.
Absolutely.
Well, we met 17 years ago. I was Gene's traffic reporter, but we worked in different buildings. And one day he came by the office, and I saw him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? We just connected instantly. And
she'd been drinking.
It was early morning. Now, how do you separate the line between a personal and professional relationship? Because you obviously live together.
I think there is a line. I think what we try and find a way to do is incorporate fun into everything we're doing, whether it's work or whether it's play, finding out what's fun and what we love about it, and do that.
And certainly you incorporate fun into your show, fun into your relationship. What are some of the other qualities that you've incorporated to keep your relationship strong?
You know, it's funny, we found early on in our relationship that we never fought at work, but we would fight at home. And we couldn't figure out what was wrong, why we're not getting along at home,
we
but we got along
stopped
at work.
going home, and it really eliminated a lot of the arguments.
But then we realized at work you have job descriptions. You know exactly who's responsible for which part of the job. You have ways to solve problems. You have goals and mission statements. You have quarterly meetings to discuss your vision and where you're heading. And so pretty early on we realized what we needed to do is start taking work skills and bring them home into our marriage. And believe it or not, that's been the secret why I think it kind of meshes and works. So we have at least an annual meeting where we sit down and we say, who are you? What are your dreams? What are your goals? Because sometimes we'll have different goals. We're working in different directions on certain projects. And where do we want to be in 5 years? Where do we want to be financially? And when we started making the business decisions at home was more harmonious.
I think in many ways we have brought a lot of work things. And I'll tell you one thing at work is you tend to think before you speak, and you really think about who you're speaking to and how you're speaking to them. And I think I really try and do that at home as well. So Julie and I always joke because sometimes the cruelest people are the people that you're closest to. And if you look at, you would never treat a stranger like that. You'd never talk to your boss like that. If let's say your home life was like a company, right? And your spouse was like your best customer, how would you treat your best customer? You take a moment, you give them a little leeway, You try and go out of your way to keep them as a happy customer.
Maybe I've been looking for love in all the wrong places. I could easily settle down with a guy who's 210 pounds with a little hair on his chest, and it seems a lot of other people also fall hard for puppy love.
You can have the most horrific, horrible day in the world and worst day of your life, and you come home and your dog's happy to see you.
I want to settle down. Have I mentioned that? Oh, about 1,000 times. I want to share my life with a man who is a spiritual leader. But even out of the starting gate, I want someone who is okay with me being a work in progress. By being honest, I'm trying to give what I want to get.
So what's going on? You don't really seem like yourself.
One of my main goals is to get people talking about what's really going on. And I think the reason why people don't do that is because they're afraid of rejection. And last night I was really proud of myself for laying things out there with a kind of a new guy, and you know, he walked me through it, spent 3 hours talking me through it. And then today he called and he just said, Janee, I want somebody fairly simple and on their path, and I feel like I am on my path.
Right.
But it just hurt. It hurt because it reminded me that this is why people don't share.
Right.
Is because then people walk away.
Why do you think he backed off?
I think he has his own stuff. He told me he did. I mean, he got out of a bad marriage, and he's at a different place in his life.
My friend and coworker John did make me feel a little better just by listening, and I'm thankful for that. It reminds me how wonderful unconditional relationships are. Maybe it's time for me to look into a relationship where unconditional love rules, and very often drools.
What does your dog mean to you?
He's everything. We have 5 Mastiffs, and we would do anything for him. Dozer battled cancer last year, and I mean, we spent over $20,000 on his medical bills just last year, and never once was it about the money. Never once did my husband and I have a conversation. It was all quality of life, and it was mostly, as long as he's happy and willing and going, we're going to do everything we can. For any of our kids, we would do it.
And when you say kids, you're referring to your four-legged kids.
Too, you know, my stepkids, we do anything for them as well. But you know, my husband and I never had children together. These are our children. So truly, these are our kids. I mean, they've brought us so close together as a couple as well. I mean, our lives revolve around it.
For those of us who don't have dogs, what value do dogs bring to your life?
I think that an unconditional love that you will never find anywhere else. You can have the most horrific, horrible day in the world and worst day of your life, and you come home and your dog's happy to see you. They don't hold grudges. They love with all of their heart, and they are so loyal. You can't buy that. You can't put a price on that. You can't get that from any family member or friend. He loves, you know, the kids are his everything. He would do anything for our kids. I mean, don't try to take my kids if Dozer's around. Don't try to break into my house if Dozer's around, because he will, a completely different side will come out, and he will protect his family.
So he's a lover and a protector.
He's a lover and a protector.
He's one good man.
He is.
How many friends do you have on Facebook?
I have around 900 friends.
How many does Dozer have?
About 3,100. I'm not upset about that at all.
And where did you find him?
He was actually found in Wise County. He was tied up to a horse trailer and left just abandoned. So the rescue group that I was working with and volunteering with got him in, and they needed a foster home. You know, that was 7 years ago. So a good rescue group will match the dog's personality to your lifestyle. And that's something to really look at. So you really, when you're adopting a dog or buying a dog, you really need to look and see what's right for your lifestyle. If you have a very active lifestyle, then you want an active dog. If you don't, and you sit around all weekend or you come home late from work, you want something more relaxed like a Mastiff. And somebody, you can just investigate the breeds and investigate the dog.
Again, it's a lesson for me that everything worth having in life requires time, preparation, hard work, and maybe even long walks and sloppy kisses. Relationships are one thing I can control, at least my end of them. And if I make a concentrated effort to do better and to be better, who knows what kind of change I can create, and who might do the same. Maybe then the complicated world of relationships might just get a little bit simpler.